Welcome back to Ox Tools. I'm Tom. So today we're building another Meatloaf for Monday, and this will be Meatloaf 25. And I got a bunch of stuff, kind of cool. The first thing we're going to look at is a friend of mine at work, Ann, who is the cookie baking electrical goddess of all things electrical. There, she's making some hanging lights out of these kind of old-timey glass insulators, and she asked me if I could drill some holes through the glass for her, and I said I'd be happy to do it. So we're going to look at that. We're going to do that. We got some viewer packages that showed up, and we're going to open those up and check out the contents of those, and that's always kind of fun. I'm looking at my cheat sheet here in case you're wondering what I'm looking at here. I found a little level vial that we're going to take a look at. A friend of mine gave me one a long time ago, and we're going to examine that a little bit and do a little measuring on it to check that out for a future project. The old live center that came with my lathe, I took that apart, and so we look at the guts of that and how that thing came apart. I didn't actually film the disassembly of it, but it was pretty straightforward. Actually, more so than the big ideal center that we've been looking at. So we got that, and then I got the Starrett Dial Depth gauge back from Starrett. They put a new crystal in it for me, and they looks like they took it all apart and cleaned out the inside because it's real spiffy right now. And we'll take a quick look at that. And then later on we have a follow-on, and there's a bunch more stuff for that one too, so stay tuned. Okay, so we got some viewer appreciation mail here, which is always kind of fun to do. So let's do them one at a time here. We'll do the box first here, and this comes from Peyton Dean, and he's in Washington, Falls City, Washington. He's got a little note in here. I hope this will help out. I don't have much, but some is better than none. Thanks for the great videos. Peyton Dean. Okay, Peyton, thank you very much. Let's see what we got here. Now, Peyton knows something that you guys don't know, but I'm not ready to tell you guys yet either. So he sent some tools here. And it's just a little smattering of some stuff here, which is cool. Okay. Let's take a look at what we got here. So we got a little C-clamp here, a little red C-clamp. Cute. A file. Oh, it's a Sandvik file. That's kind of nice. It's a little small. It's a little thick little guy. It's a mill file, but it's kind of extra thick, which is kind of interesting. Double cut. Feels good. Okay, so I got a nice file. A little Fuller screwdriver, made in Canada. Doesn't look like it's been used. You know, a little pry drivers, I call them, right? These are always handy for. See, this one's even got a clip, so you can carry it with you all the time. And then a driver, and I assume that, well, those are kind of tight. Okay, there's one. I assume those go with that, yep. Oh, it's got a magnet in it, which is kind of nice. So this has got a bunch of different ones. We got hexes, and torques, and little spline drives, Phillips, you know, the usual stuff. Okay. Peyton, thank you very much, and we'll put these in the special box. Thanks for donating. Okay. All right, let's set that aside. Okay, so the next one here is kind of an interesting one here, and this comes from Tom Bellis. And Bellis, did I have that right? I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, Tom Bellis, and he's down in Arizona. And he's a retired machinist, and I'm not going to read the whole note to you here, He likes Keith and A-Bomb. That'd be Adam. Most of you guys know that. And some of the other. Let's see what else. I had it. Okay. Anyway, so he's been a retired machinist now. 51 years later, so he was in the trades for 51 years, which is kind of cool. He still has his first 1-inch Starrett mic that an old guy gave him, so that's kind of neat. So let's see, I think there's a little description. I've already opened this, so I'm just trying to get to the kind of the highlights here. God darn it, I should have marked this here. Oh, here we go. Okay, so there's a little description of how he made it here. So let's open this up. Let's do this one first here. So we've been talking about levels and stuff, and then this is just a little bubble level that you can mount on something, which is kind of cool. These are always handy. And he cleaned it up a little bit, and it says maybe you can find a use for this. Okay, all right, Tom. I think we can. That's cool. So let's set that aside. Now this is the, I like how he wrapped this up here. This is this, it's called Coroplast, and it's this kind of plastic sign material stuff. It's like cardboard, but it's made out of plastic. So this is actually kind of a bomb-proof wrapping material here, because it's real kind of crush resistant, and it's pretty strong, and it's real cheap and light too. So kind of neat. Anyway, this is kind of the spectacular thing of the day here. We got another hammer. Okay, we got another hammer. So a little ball peen, and so he made this on a drill press with files and sandpaper. It's made from 3/8 drill rod, and he hardened it. And he says, "Oh, hey, I didn't draw it back, so wear your safety glasses when you use it." Okay, so this thing's probably harder than a monkey's uncle there. He didn't say what kind of wood the handle is, but it's kind of a very straight grained. It almost looks like bamboo or something a little bit. Hard to tell. And it's got little wedges in it. It's very cute. So, I got enough of these things now. I need to make a little display where they're all kind of in a little shadow box or something like that. So you guys are going to put me to work making a hammer display. So anyway, Tom, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. There's nothing quite as special as a handmade gift, and people put their effort into a little article like this, and it's just really meaningful, and I totally appreciate it. And I really like that. That's pretty cool. That is a boss little hammer there. And it's got a nice chamfer on it. He did a great little job there. I just love it. Anyway, Tom, thank you very much, and it's much appreciated. Okay, so here's these insulators, and what the job is today is we need to put a hole through these glass insulators here. They're threaded on the inside, I guess, for the wood standoff that used to go up in there, and then the wire would go around these grooves here. Now these are made out of glass, so it's kind of a tricky holding problem. Slightly different on top. This one has a number 4 on it. This one has nothing. That's not really going to affect what we have to do. They're different ones. Hemming Gray and Brookfield. Okay. Anyway, so we got to poke a hole in there. So how do we hold these? I guess we could put them up in the vise and squeeze them or whatever, but that's probably not a good idea. So I'm going to give you guys 3 guesses what we're going to use, and let me change the camera around, and we're going to get set up to poke some holes in those. Okay, so if you guessed mini pallet, you were right. We're going to use a mini pallet to do this. Let me use one of the smaller ones that I have here, like so, and then we're going to put that up there like so. But we've got some crummy edges here, and they're kind of sloped and rounded, and not particularly good for the clamps to get a hold of there. So what I did was I cut a piece of plastic pipe here, and we're just going to drop that over the top like so. And it's pretty slippery, huh? Drop that over the top like so, and then we're just going to hold down on that, and that'll hold that in position. At least that's the theory anyway. Now, this kind of wants to slide on there a little bit, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little piece of paper underneath there. This is this cardstock here. Like so. I don't want to block my holes though. Maybe I'll I'll just trim a little piece off here. Like so. So the paper kind of acts like a brake shoe, you know, and it's not just a microscopic amount of padding there. So let me cut that out, and we'll get the clamps over here, and we'll get this set up. Okay, so I got the paper under there. Put that on that. Do I care which way that goes? I don't think I do. This will be a little bit squirrely setting that up until we get a couple clamps on it. Alrighty, and so let's get to town here. So these are the heel bolts. I need some pretty long ones here. I kind of checked all this height out before I turned the camera on, you know. I mean, I can waste my own time, or I can waste your time too, right? I suppose. Let's see, let's go right there, something like that. Alright, and that's the tricky part here, is just to kind of get something on there and kind of get started. Now I'm using, I didn't have long enough fastener, so I had to cut off a couple pieces of all thread here to use. Let's see, I gotta go down a little more on that one. Come out a little bit, come up. Alright, now we'll get another one going. I gotta hold on to it a little bit here. I'm sticking my head on the camera. Where's Chuck when you need him? I need another set of hands here. Chuck! So once I get two on here that are kind of putting a little pressure on this. Okay, so I'm getting a little bite there now. And you can see it's already cinching down pretty good, and that's just two. I'm going to put 4 on there because I'm a chicanero. You know, it's my motto, nothing too strong ever broke, right? One more. And I think it's going to go right there. And these are, I just put some nylocks on there and just kind of ran them down so I didn't have to deal with loose nuts. Nobody likes dealing with loose nuts, right? Alright, so let's put a little pressure on that. And, you know, this is, I don't know if you can see that. This is just 2 fingers here, okay? That's all I'm doing. I'm not going crazy on this here. It's really just kind of 2 finger. Okay, so I think that's pretty secure. Oop, let's get that one just a little more. Okay, that's pretty secure. So now we're gonna pick up the center. Excuse me. This particular one has a little divot right in the center there. So I'm just gonna get a point, and I'm just going to pick up on that little point there. And it's got some patterns in that, so I don't think we need to sweep that with an indicator. I think that's probably a good enough center for this job. So let me go get a point, and then we'll get in a little closer and we'll see the whole action here. Okay, I got a little point. I'm just gonna drive up there. It's pretty darn spicy there. Okay, it looks eyeball centric to me. Mr. Wizard approves, so we're gonna zero that out. Okay. Now we're ready for our tool. We got a little diamond hole saw that we're going to use for that. So let me get that going, and we'll come back and show you how we're going to do that. Okay. So here's our diamond tool here, and this is just a diamond grit edge hole saw, and this particular one's made by Bosch. And we're going to just chuck that up. And I think it's for cutting tile and glass and stone and stuff like that. So, and then what I got over here is this is just plain water in here, and it's one of these pump up bug sprayer things, and I just have clean water in it. And we're gonna just cool that while we cut it, and it flushes all the glass particles out of there. So I'm gonna zoom in nice and tight on that. And then we're going to fire this Mamaluca up and hit it. Okay, you boys ready here? Let's do this thing. What is that? That's 1300 RPM, something like that. Ooh, that's a nice noise. You know what? I think that's getting on my camera there. Yep, I gotta clean the lens, boys. Okay, so I think that's better. It's a little farther away, and so what I'm trying to be very careful when I break through, because what I don't want to happen is to blow out a bunch of pieces at the bottom. So I want to break through very gently. I think I'm getting close. Sound changed a little bit. No, maybe not. Hey, how thick is that thing? Thing's pretty thick. Okay. Wow, it's like ½ inch thick, 13 millimeters thick or so. Cool. Well, looks like it worked. Alright, let's get that popped off and then we'll get a look at the other side and see how the other side looks. Alright, so it came out pretty good. It didn't blow out on in the inside, so I guess it's got enough curvature down there that it was kind of strong. It was surprisingly thick. That's what kind of blew me away. There's the little slug that came out of there. And what is that? Yeah, it's about a ½ inch thick, you know, 13 millimeters thick, which is pretty cool. Anyway, this little Bosch tool just kind of buzzed right through it. I probably could have pushed it a little harder, but you know, careful's good. So I'm going to set the other one up and get that one dialed in and poke the hole in that one too. Alright, just for fun, we're going to indicate this one. Actually surprisingly smooth on there. Seven. Close, pretty close. You know what? I'm calling it. I'm calling that good. Alright. Put Mr. Bosch back in there. And let's rock. Actually, I'm going to get a little closer here. Like so. How are we looking on the camera there? Yeah, I think that's all right. Put my indicator out of the wet zone here. All right. Let's go. I'm going to try to be a little more aggressive this time just to try it. Yeah, cuts fine. There we go. Oh, that was easier. Is that easier? Yeah, it was easier. Okay. Alright, well, I'll clean these up and I think it's a done deal. Okay, so that concludes that job. Once again, the mini pallet system really shows its versatility there with you know, a simple cut off piece of tubing. Now we can do this, you know, I mean, this could have been a piece of plywood for all we cared. We just had to hold it down, and holding down is generally you know, a good bet when you have something fragile. You know, these are pretty strong in compression, but in this direction, especially with a 2-point grab, you'd be asking for it. So anyway, we're gonna give these back to Ann, and hopefully she'll give me a picture of the completed little lights that I can share later on. And I don't know, she says if these work out, she might have me do a few more for her. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Okay, So I was poking around in the toolbox, and I found this thing in there. And this is something my old toolmaker buddy Charlie gave me. He gave me some levels, and when he gave me some levels, he had a couple of vials, and that's exactly what this is here. It's a vial for a level. Now it's brass. It's kind of neat. It's got the OD green paint on it, so it's some kind of military thing. I'm not quite sure what it was used for, but it's got some good. It's got a nice large vial, and to me, one of the giveaways on a relatively precision level is the size of the bubble. So it's got a large bubble. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but and we'll zoom in on this. Anyway, it's got kind of this spherical mounting here, and then something that we could adjust on that end, right? Just like we've been talking about levels. Now, I have no idea what the sensitivity of this level is. It's got some graduations on there, and I guess I'm kind of curious myself, because I had mentioned that if you ever found one like this, it would be a really kind of a neat project to build your own precision level, which is actually fairly easy to do as long as you have a way to calibrate it. Okay, so basically you just need a kind of a flat surface, and you're kind of off and running. Okay, so anyway, so what I thought we'd do here is on the surface plate figure out what the sensitivity of this level is, and whether or not it would make a good candidate for a precision level. So let me grab some stuff, and we'll get set up, and we'll test the sensitivity of this level and go from there. Okay, so here's what we're going to use to check the resolution of this level vial. Got a little V-block set up here. We're gonna, open that up like so. I think what we want to do is open that up so it's about 6 inches. Half of a foot is what I'm looking for here. And there it is. We'll put that on like that. So it's stable and up. Get rid of that. And then we're gonna do we're just gonna rotate this until we bring it into symmetry there. I gotta get up above it here. Let's see, one. Oh, okay, I'm a ways off here. Oop. I gotta look at it here. That's got some funny graduations on it, huh? Alright. Let's keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. 3 lines, 3 lines. Why is that a short one and not a long one? So you got 1, 2, third one. 1, 2, oh, okay. Ah, the divisions are, oh, I see, okay, there it is. The divisions are not very much different lengths, so alright, 2, 2. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, and then I'm gonna, do I need that? I don't think I need that. I'm not going to flip it end for end. What I have here is I have a piece of shim stock here, and this is 1 mil. That's 1/1000th of an inch shim stock. And what we're going to do is we're going to stick that under one end here, and then we're going to observe the change in the end of the bubble in relation to a graduation line. Let's see if I'm happy with that. Yeah, okay. So, well, let's just do it, eh? Pick that up, slip that under. Alright, and it looks like I moved pretty much a full line. Let's go back down. See if I'm reading this right here too. Alright, let's futz around with that a little more here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it under this end, because okay, so here's what we're going to use to check the resolution of this vial. Let's open these up here, and these V blocks are on a guide rod here, although not particularly tight, but I think it'll be okay for what we're doing here. And we're just going to set that at about 6 inches here, because what we want to know what the sensitivity of the level is in per foot, which is the typical measure, your graduation. You know, so many thousandths of an inch per foot, and that's how we describe levels. So now, let me just slip around this side here. I'm just going to do our rotation trick here until I get the thing in symmetry. Now for this test, I don't have to swap it in for end here. All I want to know is, you know, what am I resolving with this? Now I'm just going to push my little angle plate up against it here, like so. Bink, like that. Okay, and then this is a piece of 1 mil shim stock here. Okay, and then we're just going to slide. Oops, we're just going to slide that under one end, kind of gingerly. Excuse my hand, guys. Okay, we're going to see how much it moved. So it moved about. Well, let's pull it out. Let's see. How much did it move? Can I get it out of there? So it moved about a full division, okay? It moved about 1 full division on the graduations there. And that's 6 inches, so it's proportional. So if we extend that out to 1 foot, or roughly 300 millimeters, so we're 25 microns in 300 millimeters, okay? Or, excuse me, I mean 50 microns in 300 millimeters, which means we're 2/1000ths of an inch per foot. Okay, so that's the sensitivity of this particular vial here. So we can read easily differences of 2/1000ths of an inch per foot. So this is actually a pretty good level that we could make a base for and set up for doing machine leveling and things like that. And maybe we'll do that because it's got a kind of a universal mount on one end and an adjustable mount on the other. So all we need is basically a parallel to mount this to that has a nice straight bottom to it, and we're kind of off to the races then. So anyway, I thought you guys might like that, and checking the sensitivity of that, and maybe this will make a good future project. Okay, so I got this one apart. It was, you know, relatively uneventful. It came apart pretty easy. It's put together kind of interestingly, and the thrust bearing in the rear end of this thing is pretty trashed here. I think that was what was making all the noise. The cage around the balls is kind of shot. It's got a needle bearing for a radial bearing, but the part that I thought was interesting is
how they preload the thing. So it's got this, you know, it's a long center, and then it's piloted in the rear here. I haven't taken that bearing out yet. That was the hardest part. It had a little clip on there, getting that little clip off and not losing it. Famous last words. Yeah, there's the little clip right there. Anyway, so this goes down through, and this rear end is piloted in that guy. It keeps it all centered up. But this bearing here, to kind of push those needle rollers down against this, what they've done is they have this split ring here, and this has a slight taper to it, and it fits in there like so. And then this front thrust ring here actually pushes down on that tapered ring, and then closes this little gap up here that's full of crud. Anyway, and then that squeezes that down, and it preloads that and takes the play out of that. So this is a preloading mechanism here. So kind of cool how they did that. And that split, and it's split at an angle. So when these rollers here, when they're rolling around, okay, they never see a line. They gradually come onto this and then come off of it. If the split was 90 degrees to this surface here, that lines up with those rollers, so it would go click, 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 click each time it went around, if it even went around. So this way it just kind of glides right over that. It's fairly common in split bearings like that to see an angled face like that. Anyway, thought I'd show you guys that. This one's going to get converted, so we're going to use this body here, and probably that. Maybe we'll get a new one of those, and a new thrust bearing. Yeah, that one's caca. And this is going to be it's going to be a 4-jaw chuck for the tailstock. That's what we're going to do with this one here. So we got most of the makings there. I got a little 4-jaw chuck that will probably work great here. So anyway, get cleaned up a little bit, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we got this this dial depth gauge back from Starrett. This is the one that I did the crystal reshaping fail on. Anyway, they did a new crystal, and what's kind of neat is, you know, when you send a tool back to them, they kind of go through the whole thing and spruce it up a little bit. And it's just flawless now. The mechanism, it was real good before, but it's just noticeably a little crisper. So they must have cleaned the rack and checked everything and relubricated it. So this is kind of a neat tool, is that you can just push the plunger down and then take a direct measurement. So it's like a fast depth micrometer. So what we can do, if I can get it lined up here, you can take a quick measurement like so, and it's actually pretty accurate. So you can measure steps and shoulders and things like that kind of rapidly with a tool like this. I didn't have one. This is 0 to 1/2 inch, and I think they make a 0 to 1 inch too. I didn't have one, and I got this at that estate sale a while back, and but the crystal was jacked up. So now it's all happy, and you'll probably see that in some future videos. So I was just kind of closing the loop on that one. So thanks for watching.